And joining me now is Ian Sams, Senior Advisor to the Harris-Walz campaign. Ian, welcome back to the Saturday Show. Good to see you, too. You've only been in this new job how many days?
Like 4 or 5. Started on Monday. What a week.
What a week. An incredible convention. I was there for all of it. You were coming into the convention with momentum. You left Chicago with momentum. How do you keep it going?
Well, you mentioned it in the early part of the show. The Vice President and Governor Walz are going to be going to Georgia this week to campaign. South Georgia, Savannah area, a lot of time spent in Atlanta. We also want to be focusing in Savannah. We've been invested in Georgia for a really long time now. We have 170 some odd staffers across the state. We have 24 field offices across the state. That's the kind of on-the-ground activity that we're going to be doing in the coming weeks as we capitalize on the momentum and the energy that we saw at the convention to be able to actually be in communities talking to voters. You saw it when they did their bus tour in Western Pennsylvania last week, going to a football practice there, talking to people where they are. That's how you kind of capture the momentum of these big moments. You inspire people. You get volunteers who are willing to talk to people in their communities and knock on doors, and you try to mobilize them to go get the message out in November. So she's going to be out there. He's going to be out there. We're really excited about that trip this week.
You know, today the Trump campaign put out what could only be described as a pre-buttal memo saying, hey, the nominees usually get a convention bump coming out of their convention, and she's going to get one too. It's going to be, albeit temporary. And then at the end, it says, it's not national polls we should be paying attention to. It's the state polls. We got to get to 270. And then they say, we are sticking to our winning plan of getting President Trump reelected. From your vantage point, what's their winning plan?
Well, it's going to be a close race. We're a very divided country. He has strong support among Republican voters, as you know. So we're working really hard to win this campaign. We can't rest on our laurels. We're inspired right now. What we saw this week was inspiring. I think that that's an important currency in politics and in campaigns, to have people feel inspired. But we have to go out on the field and win the game. And so with President Trump, I think one thing that we've been seeing over the last week especially, I don't think he knows how to handle her. I think that he doesn't understand what he's up against. He doesn't understand that his dark, gloomy, dystopic vision, like we saw yesterday with RFK and the Federal Anti-Vax Commission or whatever it is that they were announcing. I don't think that he understands how that plays in contrast to the patriotic message that you saw from Democrats this week, from Vice President Harris, who was talking about the values that we share as a country and outlining a vision that actually impacts people's lives, taking on costs, whether it's housing, whether it's groceries, things that really matter to people. That's what she's talking about. He's ranting and rambling because he doesn't have a message that appeals to the American people.
He was ranting and rambling during her speech on his janky social media platform, calling into Fox News at one point in all caps. Is she talking about me? I find it interesting that you say he doesn't know how to handle her. What is it about Vice President Harris, you think, rankles Donald Trump so much?
I think that she's strong. She's a fighter. She's a prosecutor. She knows how to prosecute the political case against Donald Trump extraordinarily effectively, whether it's the way he tore away our freedoms, reproductive freedoms, economic freedoms, freedoms to vote, the things that he did when he appointed Supreme Court justices who took away these fundamental rights that have existed for so long. Those are the kind of things that he doesn't know how to handle because he's dealing with someone who's effectively prosecuting that case against him every day. And she's doing that because she's wanting to make sure that the American people know what's at stake in this election. Are we going to move forward, or are we going to go backward? Are we going to be optimistic and patriotic? Or are we going to be dark and angry and ranting and getting so rattled that you're beeping the phone with your cheek because you don't know how to talk about Kamala Harris like he was on Fox News? He's struggling with not being the center of attention, obviously, but that's the difference between the two of them. Vice President Harris doesn't need to be the center of attention. She wants the country to be the center of attention. Donald Trump just wants people to talk about himself. And so she's energizing these millions of Americans to rally behind the vision that she's outlining of a new way forward for this country. And I think he doesn't really quite understand how to fight back against that.
One of the things he was saying in the weeks leading up to the Democratic convention, and then it became part of the conversation, was she only talks on a teleprompter. She won't sit down with the press. When is she going to do an interview and take, extemporaneous questions? We know from NBC News is reporting that both Vice President Harris and Governor Walz will do their first joint interview next week. It's unclear, though, with whom and when that will happen. Who's got the interview?
Well, you're talking about Donald Trump's critiques. I can tell you right now unequivocally that their first interview will not be a 2-hour-long ramble with Elon Musk. Okay, so she said she'll do an interview by the end of the month. But the other thing I think people kind of have forgotten is she's been out on the trail almost every week, almost every day for the last month since she entered this race, and she's been taking reporters' questions while she's on the trail, walking over to folks who are there covering her campaign events, taking their questions, helping them understand how this campaign is going, being responsive to the questions that they have about her policy vision or her agenda or anything like that. But she's also been the vice president all year, and she's done about 80 interviews this year alone. And so this is someone who has consistently engaged with the press. And as she said, she'll do an interview by the end of the month.
Right, a sit-down interview.
Yeah, but she said she's going to do an interview. I'm not going to break news on which interview we will do on this show, especially because, I mean, there may be some people in this room who are trying to get it, but she'll be talking to the press very soon.
I mean, I had to try, Ian. I had to try.
I don't blame you.
September 10th is the first, maybe even only, presidential debate between Vice President Harris and former President Donald Trump. Is there the expectation that there will be another one?
Well, as Vice President Harris has said, she's game if he shows up at the first one. He's kind of sending weird mixed messages, trying to turn this into a Fox News thing, trying to claim that she's like changing the game a little bit. No. We've agreed to a debate. We're looking forward to that debate. I think that there's not enough attention being paid to it. President Trump is practicing for his debate. It was in the New York Times yesterday that they've been spending more time this year preparing for this debate than he has in any of his past campaigns. And he runs a serious operation. They're led by real people who are probably practicing and working really hard to get it. So, I think that it'll be interesting what happens on that day. I think that the vice president's going to show up and be who she was on Thursday night, where she prosecutes the case against him politically and make sure the American people know what's at stake in the election.
Ian Sams, 4 days into the new job, senior advisor of the Harris-Walz campaign. Thank you very much for coming to the Saturday Show.